IDF forces discovered two Hamas terrorists trying to move under the cover of a convoy of United Nations vehicles while a Hamas command center that had been set up inside a humanitarian safe zone was hit. Meanwhile, the security situation in Judea and Samaria is rapidly deteriorating as the Jewish high holidays approach. On Israel's northern border, intelligence agencies are beginning to question if Hezbollah chief Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah is still in full control of his troops and the IDF is moving into a new phase of operations. More details are also emerging about the strikes on Syria early Monday morning, with some analysts declaring it to be a strategic attack on Iran because of all the damage sustained by the facilities maintained by the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. Let's dive into the details. I'm Yair Pinto, and this is your Boots on the Ground report about what is happening in Israel on the 340th day of the war against Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, and all of its terror proxies in Yemen, Iraq, and Syria. On Monday evening, an unusual incident occurred in the Gaza Strip. A United Nations convoy traveling from the south of the Gaza Strip to the north was stopped at a checkpoint by the IDF soldiers. A preliminary inspection revealed that there were two Hamas Nukba Force terrorists traveling with the convoy who are not on the list of employees that the United Nations said were supposed to be part of the convoy. The two terrorists barricaded themselves inside a United Nations vehicle, refusing to leave it, and the IDF troops did not use force to remove them from the vehicle out of fear of a diplomatic incident. Senior Israeli officials entered into negotiations with the United Nations in order to allow for these two terrorists to be arrested, and these negotiations dragged on for several hours. The United Nations employees were eventually released, while the chief of the United Nations Department for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, Philippe Lazzarini, posted a statement on X complaining about the incident. His statement does not mention that Hamas terrorists had been using his vehicles to move around, implying that the IDF stopped the convoy for no particular reason and damaged the vehicles with heavy bulldozers. In related news, the IDF spokespersons announced on Monday evening that the Air Force, under the direction of the Shin Bet Amman and the Southern Command, attacked central terror targets of Hamas, who are operating in a command and control complex disguised in the humanitarian area in Khan Yunis. According to the IDF statement, the terrorists promoted and carried out terrorist plots against IDF forces and citizens of the State of Israel. It was also reported before the attack, many steps were taken to reduce the chance of harming civilians, including the use of precision weaponry, aerial surveillance, and additional intelligence information. This is similar to the strike that took out senior Hamas operative Muhammad Def, in which precision weapons were used to target military bunkers underneath areas where there were civilian structures nearby. It is another example of the way Hamas uses civilian infrastructure and civilians themselves as human shields to hide their military activities. Here at TBN Israel, we will continue to update you on developments in the Gaza Strip. If you want to receive real-time updates, go to our website at www.tbnisrael.com/news. Switching our focus to events in Judea and Samaria. As we approach the Jewish high holidays, which are always a tense time, the IDF is bracing for more violent attacks on soldiers and civilians. 64 terrorists have been eliminated over the past few weeks in exchanges of fire with the IDF troops, while many more have been arrested and large quantities of weapons and ammunition have been seized, but the attacks keep coming. We know that Iran had smuggled weapons, ammunition, and other contraband into the region in an effort to open another front against Israel now that Hamas has been largely defeated in Gaza. The potential of escalation is high, and the IDF, border police, and other security agencies are working hard to contain the threat. The fear is that there will be another large-scale popular uprising like the Second Intifada, which raged 20 years ago, with buses being blown up by suicide bombers in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, riots in mixed Jewish-Arab cities, and general unrest. There are already signs that serious attacks involving the use of explosives are increasing in northern Samaria, where the IDF operations have been focused on for the past few weeks. The fear is that the unrest may spread from there to southern Samaria and Judea. In this context, it is important to remember that there was an attempted suicide attack in Tel Aviv a few weeks ago, in which a suicide bomber was sent from Nablus in northern Samaria. His backpack was filled with explosives, detonated prematurely as he was on his way to his intended target. The terrorist himself was the only one that was neutralized, but the next attempted attack might not be ending this way. Another city that could potentially see an increase in violence is Hebron, which is south of Jerusalem. There was already a shooting attack that killed 3 police officers on a road near Hebron and 2 car bomb attacks in the Gush Etzion area just a few weeks ago. The drivers of both of those car bombs came from the Hebron area, and security officials warned that Hamas has a strong presence in Hebron. Finally, there is the threat of a general awakening of violence all throughout Judea and Samaria, and even amongst the Palestinian population in neighboring Jordan, following the shooting attack at the Allenby border crossing between Israel and Jordan on Sunday morning. As previously mentioned, Iran is investing great efforts and resources in trying to open another front against Israel by arming and financing terrorist groups and criminal syndicates in Judea and Samaria, as well as in Jordan itself. Another phenomenon that worries the security establishment is the videos of the armed terrorists in the refugee camps. These images, in which heavily armed terrorists march in parades and at funerals, create an atmosphere of militarism and fear. They also create an illusion in the minds of many young Palestinians that they are on the brink of a great battle against Israel that will see them achieve victory, in contrast to previous generations. The security forces are constantly on the alert for the signs that an attack is about to be carried out, and in recent days they arrested 3 terrorists in the village of Bnei Naim in the Hebron area and were planning an attack in the immediate time frame. In addition to that, terrorists were intercepted and arrested on Route 6 on Monday in a highly unusual scene that resulted in interrogations that led police to arrest other accomplices who were planning and preparing to participate in other terrorist attacks. Extensive security operations, including undercover surveillance, arrests and sweeps, and constant monitoring of terrorist communication networks has kept the situation from exploding and deteriorating even further. But I will remind you that this is all part of a spiritual battle, and I will ask you to join me in praying for the police and the security forces, as well as ordinary Israelis and people, to be alert, aware, and stay strong as they face this growing threat. Here at TBN Israel, we will continue to update you on developments going forward, but it is very important that you help us by sharing our videos on YouTube and following us on social media. Now, before we continue with the news, I want to tell you about our sponsor for today's video. Our communities in the north and in the south are suffering from the effects of war and the endless bombardment of rockets, UAVs, and missiles. But that's not all. The entire country is suffering from severe economic hardship. There is no tourism, there's almost no agricultural activity whatsoever, and many other sectors of the economy are also suffering. A lot of you have been asking in the comments, what can we do to practically help Israel? Well, one way that you can help Israel and Israeli families is through our sponsor today, Arza. You see, each Arza box delivered to your doorstep is filled with flavors, scents, and craftsmanship made here in the Holy Land. By purchasing these products, you support jobs in Israel, and at the same time, you give yourself a gift. You can find more by visiting www.arzabox.com to receive fresh, original, handcrafted products. You can now use our exclusive 10% discount on your Arza Box subscription by entering the code TBNIL. Remember, it's a beautiful gift, it's a souvenir from the Holy Land, and most importantly, it's a blessing for Israel and for the people of Israel. Thank you. And now back to the news. Switching our focus to Israel's northern border, on Monday evening, Hezbollah launched 15 missiles and 2 drones into the Galilee region. One of the drones directly hit a residential building in Nahariya, but Hezbollah rushed to issue a statement that the UAVs were targeting the IDF's Shraga base in the western Galilee. This, among other things, prompted the IDF to issue an intelligence assessment that Nasrallah is frustrated in light of the results recorded by Hezbollah. An IDF statement said that Nasrallah claimed that he aimed at the base in the Golan Heights and fired a shot that hit a soccer field in Majd al-Shams. Then, he claimed that he fired at the base in the center of the Golan and hit houses in the Israeli community of Katzrin. Now, he claims that he fired at the base in Shraga and he hit a building in Nahariya. One possible explanation for what we're seeing is that Nasrallah has simply lost operational control of his forces, as many of his most highly trained and experienced field commanders, who are also personally loyal to him, have been eliminated over the past 11 months of this war with Israel. As I've said before in this channel, the younger, less trained and experienced junior-level commanders who have moved up to replace those who have been lost are much harder for Nasrallah to supervise and control. There are few other senior leaders who are serious enough to give or take orders, much less give Nasrallah good advice or otherwise help him manage things. The question is, how much breathing space does Hezbollah have to continue observing before changing the equation of the war in the north? A change that may lead to either calm or an all-out war in the north and even beyond. The IDF, for its part, continues to target rocket launchers and other Hezbollah assets in Lebanon, as well as targeting individual field commanders and leaders for assassination. The goal of these operations is to erode the organization's offensive and operational capabilities. Now, switching the focus a bit north and east of Lebanon, let's take a look at this week's strikes on Iranian-backed terrorist infrastructure in Syria. But first, I will once again ask you to help us spread the truth by clicking on the follow button, subscribing to this YouTube channel, and sharing us on social media. Visit our website, tbnisrael.com, to sign up for our news updates. According to social media reports in Syria, the IDF attacked the 4000 Institute of the SEAL Center near the city of Mazyef in northwestern Syria. According to Israeli analysts, this facility is officially designated as a study and scientific research center operating under the auspices of the Syrian government and includes at least 18 facilities scattered throughout Syria. However, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps is known to be the true owner and operator of this facility, which was until just a few years ago a factory that produced weapons and military equipment for the Syrian military. Over the past few years, and with the deepening of its grip on Syria, Iran has increased its involvement in the SEAL Center in general and the 4000 Institute in particular. According to a recent intelligence assessment, the Iranian takeover of SEALs, which is a significant knowledge and production platform, is intended to help Iran in the research, development, and production of diverse weapons, but also to shorten the length of the Continental Corridor. Development and production of ammunition on Assyrian soil will save transportation from Iran, which involves a significant logistical effort and reducing the possibility of shipments being thwarted. The destruction of the Syrian sites will be a strategic blow to Iran's efforts in Syria and will seriously damage the weapons development and production efforts in the Iranian arms corridor to Hezbollah and the various militias threatening Israel from the north. This matter is especially true now and in view of Iran's efforts to continue transferring weapons to Hezbollah during the war with Israel. Another significant aspect of such an action is sending a clear message to Iran regarding Israel's intention to thwart the continued Iranian force buildup in Syria. Here, at TBN Israel, we will continue to update you on any developments going forward. Please take an active part in spreading the truth and support us so that we can continue to bring you up-to-date and detailed content about what is happening in Israel. And guys, the most important thing that you can do is pray. So please pray for the peace of the IDF soldiers. Pray for the peace of the abductees and their speedy return home. Pray for the peace of Israel and unite in prayer for the peace of Jerusalem.
Hello, this is Mati here in Jerusalem with TBN Israel.
This is Yair Pinto from TBN Israel here in Jerusalem. TBN Israel is keeping viewers informed with Israel-focused news, culture, and what God is doing in this land.
Support TBN Israel today online at tbn.org/Israel. Thank you.